Hello, welcome. I work with Technocrat, who's a digital agency, which means we have a lot of projects and we onboard people from one project to another. We also have a support team with we support certain clients with 24/7 support, which means that if a new people come to the support team, that person have to set up maybe more than 10 projects. And yeah, not everyone is a Drupal expert. We have some front-enders, themers, who can't necessarily set up even Drupal or the infrastructure for Drupal. And so easy and quick onboarding is very important for us. And I think Tokaido can be the solution for that. But you don't have to be an agency to see these problems. So like last year, I was running some small Drupal global training day events. And during those events, some new people came to try Drupal. And we were struggling with setting them up, their computer. Or we have the code sprint tomorrow. If someone new comes in and want to try Drupal, it's very important to have something that's easy to start with. And that's where Tokaido can help, because Tokaido is basically an open source, Docker-based, easy to use, highly customizable, production-grade development environment. And it's specifically for Drupal and for Drupal developers. And yeah, I'm not the developer of Tokaido, but I'm the #1 user, which means I see from a different perspective. And yeah, I am. And some of its features are actually coming from my ideas. So and I don't want to convince anyone to switch. So if you're already happy with something that you're using, maybe you should try that. But if you're not, or you're looking for something that's maybe better, you should definitely try Tokaido. And yeah, so I'm gonna try to do some live demo, which we all know that can can break. So I hope something like this won't happen. Remember this, or I'm. Yeah, of course. But do you remember when Bill Gates and someone else from Microsoft tried to introduce Windows 98? This is the screen they had during the live demo, and they got a big applause. So I hope that you will give me a big applause if something works. So yeah, I'll just to try to switch and just tell me if you can see this, or. Is it? Okay. So Tokaido is basically has a command line interface which you can use. So it's called Tok. So if I try, hang on, just need to switch here. So Tok new, and give it a project name like. It will ask me which Drupal version do I want. I will choose this Drupal 8 no install. And while it's running, by the way, what do you think if your job is to set up a new Drupal project from scratch? Can you do it within 4 hours? Can you do it within 1 hour or less than 15 minutes, or it's more than 4 hours for you? Okay. More than 4 hours. Okay. Because what I'm trying to do here is just launch a new Drupal 8 project within a couple of minutes. So how does it work? Basically, when I selected Drupal 8 no install, it just downloaded a already prepackaged Drupal, which means I don't even have to to run Composer install on my local because the Composer dependencies are built into this package. So what I can get is a complete everything that need for Drupal to be able to run. But I can choose other templates from that list, and those templates can be extended. But in this example, I chose no install, which means just right after this is done, I will just have an ability to install Drupal. If you could see, there were a demo umami in there in that list. For example, if you choose that, the demo umami will be installed automatically. So you can just type new, type your project name, select demo umami if you want to demo Drupal, and wait for the install to run. Why I didn't choose that version because installing demo umami can take time. So I just choose this no install, which means I already have a Drupal running. So it was how much? Less than 5 minutes, I think. Yeah, I can use it. So if I do a talk open and pray, if this live demo works, it will show me the Drupal 8 install page within this is currently Drupal is loading, so you can see the URL. Maybe it's too small to catch that, but this is Drupal 8. So here we go. When I said I will show you some stuff that you can do with Tokaido, but just wanted to clarify what I said when I meant production grade. So it's basically, are you familiar with this acronym? On my machine, it works. The aim is to have a similar setup that you would have on a production environment, which means a couple of things. It means that the containers are not running as root. It also means that this thing is battle tested, so Tokaido was built for production, and it's running on production environment, and then was packaged to provide this Tok interface and ability to work on your local machine. And it has SSL by default. And for example, it has some security default, so it's set these headers by default. You can override these if you're familiar with this. But if you don't, and you don't want to bother with these things, it's just a basic secure guidelines of how to set up these headers. So yeah, this is what it means to be a production grade or server grade environment. And so if you want to know what's inside, so I can for example, there is a tok ps command that will list all the running containers, services that I already have. So if you can see, I have, I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with these, but this is what you need to run Drupal. Like we have a web server, the Nginx, we have PHP FPM, of course, we have MySQL, but we also have some additional services, like we have Varnish, Memcache, HA proxies to handle the SSL, and we have a Drush service as well, which means that you can use Drush. I will show you in a minute. And so there's another cool thing called Tok ports. Because like if you see that port list on the right, it's for new users, it must be like, who can tell what's in there. It's just a list of numbers. So instead, Tokaido has a ports command that it just lists all the ports that you can use to connect to. For example, if you want to connect your local dev environment to like the MySQL service, you can just use the MySQL port. This port can change, and this will differ by project. So if I start up a new project, it will be a different port for that project, because everything runs on localhost. Or you can, if something breaks, because things break, you can use the toc logs command, which just lists all the logs from the different containers. For example, if you struggling with setting up Drupal and you ask for help, and someone just say, can you please show the logs? Can you actually show the logs? Like, even me, sometimes I'm struggling with finding where the logs are in a server. So instead, I can just type toc logs, and I can filter it down, so I can do toc logs FPM just to show the FPM logs. So this is how we work. For example, if I have a problem, I just call Mike, who is the maintainer of Tokaido, and he just say, can you please just toc logs FPM? And I send the output, and he can tell what's going on. So I think it's very handy. You can also execute commands, for example, drush commands. So you do toc exec drush status. So it's basically, we'll just run drush status inside of the container, and it will give you the status that you're already probably familiar with it. But you can also SSH into that. So if I scroll back up, maybe you'll see when I started, it said run SSH tokdemo.toc to SSH into the environment. So if I do that, it will just go into Tokaido, and I will have a command line interface where I can run drush, and I can run composer commands, or even like yarn build, or anything that you need. You can set this up to run all of your stuff inside of the containers. Should I make it bigger, or can you see that? All right. So why it's telling me that the database status is failed, because Drupal is not installed in this. So it's actually checking if Drupal is installed. So if you install Drupal, this will be a green OK. And a very handy thing is that my SSH keys are available in here. So if I list my SSH keys, it's already there. This is my public key, which means that I can connect to the servers, for example, or connect to GitHub or whatever from within Tokaido, and I don't have to, fight against the elements to do that. So it just works out of the box. Another cool command is the toc open command, which opens up your browser, but you can also do toc open -admin, which won't work because I haven't installed Drupal yet, but you can quickly have a admin session just like this, so you don't even have to drush ULI. And you can do snapshots, which just create a backup of your database. And you can also restore these backups. So if I just create another, this will be an empty database at the moment, but that's why it's so quick. And you can choose the already existing backups to just restore. And if you want, you can commit these backups to your repository. So you can provide like some pre-built database, and you can just commit that and tell your users to just, okay, after you have the Tokaido running, just toc snapshot restore that, and you have a working database. And if you want to change something, you don't have to understand YAMLs and all these configuration files. You just can go to toc config, if I type it correctly, and you can change settings For example, I can enable Xdebug, or I can go back and maybe change to display errors, or change the memory limit. And as well as I can enable additional services which Tokaido provides. So we have Solar, Memcache, Redis, Mailhog. You guys familiar with Mailhog? Is it just to test your outgoing emails? Or PHP Adminer is just a database management application. So you can just enable and disable these. If you're just done, you can do Tok rebuild, and Tokaido will just take down your containers, rebuild this whole thing, and start making the changes. So if you're interested in the details, what's going on, we have, I'll just open this up, a config file. I'm not sure if you can see it really. Trying. Where is it? Editor. Okay. Can't see really where it is. All right. Doesn't matter really the details, because what I'm trying to tell you just that there is a config file that you can version control if you want, and it has all the settings that Tokaido has. And also there is a Docker Compose file that Tokaido auto-generates, and you don't have to touch this. And the good thing is you don't have to understand Docker. But if you want, and that's where it comes to why it's highly customizable, you can actually tell Tokaido to not auto-generate this file and place your stuff in this, and because it's all Docker and Docker Compose, so you can just use whatever you want in Docker. So another example I just want to show is if I just type Tok new again, and I will say Drupal core, and I will select Drupal core. This will be interesting for tomorrow's contribution day, because this time what happens is that it downloads again Drupal. We're starting to run out of time. And it checks out the latest dev branch from the Drupal Git server and set everything up for you, and it will actually install Drupal on your machine. So if you just come here to contribute the first time, and you just have Tokaido and type this command, you will have a Drupal 8 dev version checked out from the repository that you can work with just within minutes, basically, and you can create your patches from that point. So this will take a while because it will install Drupal. You see, so it just basically starts to install Drupal at this point. So meanwhile, it's doing. I'd just like to share some of the future things that we will have. So currently Tokaido is Mac only, but in the next release it will have Linux support, and also there are some plans to turn this from a developer, like a local development environment, to more like an automation platform, which means we can run automated tests. We can use like the Tok sync command to sync with your stage or production environment, or Tok deploy to initiate deployment. So these are some planned features. And and if you guys are interested or someone's interested in helping with Tokaido, we'd like to have Windows support, but we need people who are willing to use it on Windows and maybe willing to just help just trying the latest Edge versions and provide some feedback. So that's what basically we need. So just reach out to me if you guys interested in. And Drupal is still installing. So yeah, come to Tokaido.io website to see how to install Tokaido. It's very easy. You just need homebrew and type to brew command. And also talk to us on the Tokaido Drupal Slack. And you can find Tokaido on GitHub. It's open source, so you can create bug reports or feature requests, or you can create pull requests if you want. And yeah, so basically that's it. This is my email address, and you can find me on Drupal Slack as well. And we can have some questions while this thing installs.
Okay, I will make advantage of having microphone. I have actually a couple of questions. First one, did you get a chance to compare performance of Tokaido versus like plain Docker installation?
Yes, on the Tokaido website there is a full list of, I think it's in the documentation, you can find a comparison table somewhere, Tokaido versus other tools. So you can actually check what are the differences. In terms of, so the speed mostly is depending on how Docker share the files, so the Docker images. There was a version with Tokaido that used a Unison file system that's very fast, but it was quite unstable. So currently it's using the same file sharing method like Lendo does. But that's the bottleneck, basically. And it comes down when you run Composer install, for example.
That, for me, that was the main reason from switching back to Linux. Because at some cases, it's like 10 times difference in performance due to exposed files.
Yeah. Yeah, so we still have that problem as...
It's using delegated method of sharing, right? As well as Lando does.
Yeah, it's using the same method as Lando does, or any other Docker-based, if you're running on Mac.
Okay, and my second question is actually related to Lando. Why would you recommend using Tokaido versus Lando?
Two things, basically, I would recommend, because it's production grade. So as far as I know, Lando doesn't, you're supposed not to run it on production. You shouldn't run it on production servers. You can run Tokaido on production. And as well as because this is mostly for Drupal. So it's more specific, it's more, its features are more designed for Drupal developers, not just like a generic thing. I think that's the two key things that why you should try Tokaido.
Are there any plans with providing support for deployment for some popular hosting environments?
There are some plans, but not in the close future, I think. Yeah. Because if you ask that question, maybe it will be. That's really how it works. Yeah.
Thank you very much for this presentation. Sorry, maybe I missed, but which programming language Tokaido written on?
So Tokaido is written in Go.
And you talked about contribution, especially about Windows for Windows users. And how do you see it? So how to contribute and how to bring some help?
Come to the Tokaido channel, I think. That's a good start. And just let's talk and reach out to me as well. So I'm here and I will be here tomorrow during the contribution day. And if you want to try Tokaido, you can come and we can try it. I can show you. So reach out to me or us in the Tokaido channel in Slack or in GitHub. You can find. No worries.
I work for a large enterprise company, and enterprises always use Windows as a default operation system. Yeah. So of course, our systems are absolutely allowed, but by default, Windows everywhere.
Yeah. So and it's now done. So it should open a Drupal admin interface. It's now we just have to wait for Drupal to start up. Yep.
One more question for me. Thank you very much for your presentation. And also, as I understand properly, is it sufficient to download this application and just install on your machine, and you don't install some extra application like web servers or something else?
Yeah, so maybe I have a backup slide of what you need. Yeah, so this is basically what you need. You need Homebrew, which you probably already have, and Git, which again you probably already have, and Docker Desktop. And then if you run these two commands, you will have Tokaido, and then you can start with Toknew. And if you have an existing project and you wanna start, if you download an existing project, you can just run Tokup, which like Vagrant Up or something. Other environments have similar. So for example, if I do git checkout, the Technocrat website, which is a Drupal 8 project, and just Tokup, it will just basically start up on that. And in this instance, I will have to run Composer install because we don't version control the Composer dependencies. And that's why I didn't want to include it into the live demo, because it takes time, Composer installing. But it's that easy to set up your project. If you already have one, it's already running.
Sorry, second question from my side. Is it possible to install some extra service which is not in the list that you already showed?
Yeah, so as I said, you can use the custom compose setting, so you can customize the Docker Compose if you want, and you can add additional services if you want. And as well as if you like to have additional services that would everyone else benefit from, just you can create pull requests, or you can just open a feature request in GitHub or just talk to us, and we are open for suggestions and improvements.
Thank you so much.
No worries, thank you.
Are there any plans to support maybe Symfony, WordPress, I don't know? So in other tools, not only Drupal?
Yes, there are. So currently I think currently we support Symfony and especially Laravel. So you can run Laravel, but there are some plans, and again, demand. So.
How big team is? What is the size of the team?
Who's working on Tokaido? It's mostly, I think, 2 guys who's developing Tokaido. So it's not a big team, and that's why it's quite. Yeah. And you can reach them as well.
Okay, thank you very much. We run out of time, so lunch is starting very soon. So thank you for your presentation. And everyone
Thank
is
you.
welcome to join the lunch.
Thanks.